Yes, my name is Schorr. I'm the coordinator for the Kaohsiung campus, and I came up from a sunny and warm Kaohsiung this morning. Okay, I'd like to give you some information about the English program. Now, just to put it into perspective, last year we had about 700 students apply. We had 324 positions available, but today I want to give you an example and talk about two students. So let's call them Student A and Student B. All right, so Student A was from Tainan. He studied material sciences. He was 24 years old, and he had, maybe like many of you, around 6 months work experience before he decided to come to ITI. All right, now this was one of my first students, so I'll give you a little bit of information about where he is today later. Now, he signed up for the International Business Administration program, the 2-year program, all right? So, these are the subjects that he had in the first year. In the first year, and I'll explain, you can see the, hey, does this work? Press the button. Ah, there we go. You can see these are the 4 terms of the year. And then in that year, where is it? There we go. You can see the courses that he took were Listening and Speaking 1, Reading Skills, Writing 1, Business English 1. All right? Now, as you can see, we focus on listening, reading, writing. We have Business English, and we have some practical courses. But as you can also see, so we're focusing on all 4 basic skills: listening, speaking, reading, writing. But we make sure that all students have a very strong foundation. So when we start listening, reading skills, we move over into business reading and discussion. So we start with, for example, also writing, writing 2, and then we move into business correspondence. So we make sure that the students have a very strong foundation for reading skills, listening skills, writing skills, and then we move in to more business-focused courses. So as you can see, with business correspondence, then Business English 1, for 4 terms, those courses focus on general business English. Different business topics, business vocabulary, where students can practice some of the words and the grammar and things that they have experienced in other courses. Business correspondence is one of the most important skills that students will get in the first year, because no matter how experienced or inexperienced you are, when you walk into a job, what's one of the first things you have to do? Send emails, all right? And the ability to do that quickly and accurately is a very important skill. But there's another very important skill: presentations. In term 3, students will do a course in presentations. Now, the 2 courses that I've just mentioned, business correspondence and presentations, those are 2 courses which graduated students, usually, when they speak to us, they say these are the most important skills that they learn at ITI. All right? So this is the first year. Moving on into the second year of the 2-year program, we still continue building students' general listening and speaking ability. This is for everyday conversation. It's your general language, because in business, you don't just discuss business. You have to talk about other things. You have to talk about current events, the news, not celebrity news, news. All right, real news. Okay, so we continue with the listening and speaking course, and in these listening and speaking courses, as we move from the first year to the second year, in the first year, we focus on correcting pronunciation. We focus on helping students speak more fluently, speak more accurately. So as this listening and speaking course continues, we expect students to produce more spoken work. So we focus on improving their listening accuracy and building it towards speaking more. And that builds confidence. It's just, it happens. You're not going to get through listening and speaking and not feel comfortable to speak English. All right. Then, in the second year, you can see we actually focus on a number of very practical skills. So, for example, we will have exhibition English, where students learn how to prepare for an exhibition, and we also teach students some basic sales English, how to qualify a visitor at an exhibition, how to present a product, how to demonstrate a product. All right? Connected to that, we also have another writing course, business report writing. And in the 7th term, we have advanced business studies, where students are doing project work based on using all their English skills. Of course, you want a job. So we have job search, where we prepare students to prepare your resume, an autobiography, all in English, and as well as prepare you for an English interview. All right? Now, the one piece of advice I would give you is that while right now you're thinking of, do I want to apply for ITI? But I also want you to think, what job do I want to do after ITI? Because that's where ITI fits into your life. Okay, moving on. Because students in the 2-year program go on an internship abroad, we have a course to prepare them for internship. Okay? Now, here at the bottom is a combination of 3 courses that are also extremely important. Meetings, negotiations, and telephoning. Everybody's going to sit in meetings. Most meetings include some kind of negotiation. It's not always negotiating a deal or negotiating a contract. It's negotiating a specification. It's negotiating a shipping date. So the ability to actually bargain effectively in English is a very important skill that students will get from ITI. And finally, telephoning. I worked in a company before where if I made an internal phone call, when someone answered the phone and heard my voice, not because I sounded angry, but because they heard I was speaking English, they would just hang up the phone. Okay? Students at ITI will learn basic telephone language, how to be effective on the telephone, how to get through different obstacles, someone's secretary, how to speak to them in a way so that you can get to their boss. All right? So these 3 courses are also extremely important. And I can say, students who have gone on to business, they do say, aside from business correspondence and presentations, the skills that they learn in running an effective meeting that they get at ITI, they notice the difference between how they approach a meeting and how other people do. They notice the difference in whether a meeting is kept on target and on time. And this is a skill that we give you at ITI. So this is student A who joined the 2-year program. Let's look at, before I move on. Student A also did an internship in the 8th term. And for this, as Sylvia already mentioned, we have a number of destinations. So we have the United States, 3 locations, Ireland, and then Australia as well. All right? Okay. Now, let's look at student B. Student B came from Taipei. She studied Japanese language and she was 25 years old. She qualified for the 1-year business major program. So this was her year. She also had business English, but for this course, we start the book at a higher level. All right? So she had business English, advanced listening and speaking, writing. Because it's a shorter course, so students in this course start at a more advanced point, and it is a little bit more condensed. So, business English, advanced listening and speaking, and then writing. After writing, we move into business correspondence. 3 months of intensive business correspondence, but at the end of that, they can write business correspondence. All right, so then if we look at the practical courses, again, job search, because it's important, and telephoning, negotiations, but we also build, again, presentations, meetings, and exhibition English. So although this is 1 year, it still puts in all the practical courses that we teach. All right? So let's talk about the benefits of coming to ITI to study English and business. One of the key things is our international faculty. All right? We have teachers I'm from South Africa, we have teachers from England, from Canada, from Australia, from the United States, from the UK. And what this does, and I feel it's a benefit beyond going abroad to do an MBA. If you go to do an MBA abroad, you get one country's culture. But you probably live in a house with many Taiwanese students, so you're actually living in Chinese and going to class in English. At ITI, you're exposed to a variety of accents, vocabulary, culture, different business styles, and different ways of seeing the world, because there isn't just English. There's different types of English. And if you come to ITI, you're exposed to all of these different versions. That is definitely one of the key advantages of studying at ITI. Another advantage, as Sylvia mentioned, was the English-only policy. Now, the English-only policy is not really it's not a policy, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to, every time you speak, to practice the English that you've been exposed to. You might, right now, you might think, how can I remember all the new words that I learn? Well, you have to use it or you will lose it. If you try and use the English that you learn every time you speak, then you will not forget it. And that's where the EOP helps. So I'm going to give you this advice even before you apply. After you apply and you are admitted to ITI, when you meet your roommate, the very first day, speak to them in English. Don't start in Chinese. The reason is this: if you start a relationship in a certain language, you're always going to be comfortable in that language. But if you start it in one language and then you have to switch to another language, it's always going to be a little bit strange. So that's my advice. Another advantage, the BBC. The students who you will listen to later, they've been through it. It starts off very difficult. We expect students to actually listen to the news every day and write things down, all right? But it's a proven recipe for success, because you improve your listening accuracy, you improve your speaking ability, and it's a way to keep up to date with current events. It's not going to be easy. It will be a challenge, but it's not supposed to be easy. At the end, it will be easier. Okay? All right. So let's look at the results for student A and student B. Student A went to work for an IT startup company as a business development manager to develop new business. But that was a while ago. Since then, he has gone on to work for China Steel, and he is now a sales manager in their Shanghai office. But when he started this position, where am I? There. This is what ITI helped him to do. He was able to get a job, get a position at a much higher salary than what he might have otherwise been able to do. Student B went to work for a shoe manufacturer. I guess we can guess who that shoe manufacturer is. It's a global leader. It's a Taiwanese company. And she went to work in Hanoi as a quality assurance auditor. And And the salary that she was able to achieve in this position basically put her in the top 1% in terms of salary for her age group. Now, I understand that you're thinking about the 1 year or the 2 years that you're going to spend at ITI. But I want you to think beyond that. I want you to think of ITI as 1 year or 2 years for the rest of your life. It's not just the next year or the next 2 years. Because whatever position you are in right now, you want to think, how is ITI going to change my life? ITI changed these 2 students' lives as well as it changed every other student's life. I think that you're still going to, if you don't have work experience, you're still going to have to start your career in the same position. You can't, there's no shortcuts in life. But the one thing that coming to ITI will do is it will make you move faster. The journey is still the journey, but ITI can increase your speed. Okay, so I hope that you'll all apply, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me later. Thank you.